All right, hey boys and girls, I'm back with another book that's up for the Volunteer State Book Award. This one is called Jack and the Beanstalk and the French Fries, and it is written and illustrated by Mark Teague. Now, I like this story for a couple of reasons. First of all, Mark Teague is an author and an illustrator that I do know and that I'm familiar with. I've seen some more of his stories, and we have some in our library. Maybe you even have some of his at home and have read some of his before. But I also like this story because it's what I like to call a fractured fairy tale. That means the author took a story that's already familiar to us, in this case, Jack and the Beanstalk. He took a story that we already know, and he changed it just a little bit. And I always love to read these stories and see just how the author likes to change it. So in this story, it is going to be the story of Jack and the Beanstalk that you probably know. You know, the one where Jack and his mom are poor and she sends Jack off to the market to trade the cow and to bring back some food. And he ends up coming back with magic beans, and she gets mad and she throws them out the window. And overnight, a beanstalk grows, and the next morning, Jack decides to climb the beanstalk, and he goes to the top and finds a giant. He comes back down, and there's a golden goose that lays golden eggs. You know the whole story. Well, in this story, we are going to see some of those same things happen, but you're going to see a little bit of a twist, too. And I think I might already see a twist at the beginning. French fries? I didn't know French fries were in Jack and the Beanstalk. But I guess we're going to have to read to find out how they fit in the story. So here we go. Jack and the Beanstalk and the French Fries. Again, this is by Mark Teague. It's written and illustrated by him. So here's Jack and the cow in their little house. Let's see what happens. Jack lived with his mother in a small house at the edge of a village. They were very poor. They were so poor that when their cow stopped giving milk, Jack's mother feared that they would starve. "Quickly, son," she said, "take the cow to the market and sell her for as much as you can. Everything depends on it." Jack headed off with the cow in tow. After a while, he stopped to rest, and when he did, a stranger appeared. "I'll trade you these magic beans for that cow," said the old man. "Magic beans?" said Jack. "You must think I'm a dodo." "Not at all," said the stranger, "and these beans are quite magical. Plant them and you will have all that you desire." "Honest?" said Jack. What he desired at the moment was food. "Honest," said the stranger. So they made the deal, and Jack returned home with the beans. "Foolish boy," cried his mother, "you have ruined us." She tossed the beans out a window and sent Jack to bed without any supper. When he awoke the next morning, a strange light filled Jack's room. Giant leaves poked through the window. He stuck his head out and saw an enormous beanstalk growing in the backyard. "Ma," he cried, running downstairs. "Check out the beanstalk." "I already did, and look, I made us bean porridge for breakfast." Jack ate the porridge. It wasn't the best thing he'd ever eaten, but it beat starving. "Well, I guess our problem is solved," he said, and he headed off to school. After that, Jack and his mother ate beans all the time. They ate bean salad, bean soup, pickled beans, refried beans, baked beans, minced beans, mashed beans, breaded beans, bean sprouts, and bean dip. After a while, Jack grew tired of beans. He dreamed of burgers. He dreamed of French fries. "Couldn't we have something else?" he grumbled, staring at his bean chowder. "Why would we want anything else?" said his mother. "Beans are nutritious and delicious, and best of all, they're free." And thanks to the magic beanstalk, there were always more beans. The stalk produced enormous quantities of beans. They grew in the spring and the summer, the fall, and they even kept coming in the winter. Jack's mother shared beans with the neighbors' neighbors, and with the neighbors' neighbors. At first, everyone seemed grateful for the beans, but the feeling didn't last. At dinner time, Jack could hear howls of children from blocks away. "Please," they cried, "no more beans." Right here. Here's some kiddos. No more beans. school was even worse. Kids glared at him over their bean-filled lunches. His classmates said, "It's all your fault. You never should have planted that thing." "I didn't," said Jack. "Not really." But nobody believed him. Big kids threw bean sandwiches at him. Bullies chased him home from school. This has to stop, he thought, but he didn't know what to do. What could he do here? Well, on his birthday, Jack was given a bean bag, a bean shooter, and a slice of bean cake, topped with a dollop of bean cream. Bean cream? Are you serious? That does it, he thought as he lay in bed. This beanstalk has to go. So the next morning he grabbed a hatchet and he stomped outside. He was about to give the stalk a good whack when the stranger appeared once again. "Wait," said the old man. "Aren't you curious? What's up there?" "I know what's up there," said Jack. "It's just beans." "Don't be foolish," said the stranger. "Climb. Here, I'll give you a boost." Just then, an angry mob appeared at the end of the street. Among them were the worst bullies from school. They carried torches and pitchforks, and they chanted, "No more beans!" One of them spotted Jack. "Look, it's the Bean Kid!" "Okay," said Jack, "I'll come." He gave his hatchet to the stranger, and he scrambled up the beanstalk. Up and up he went until the village looked small below him. Jack wasn't crazy about heights, but bullies were worse. He kept climbing. The beanstalk disappeared into the cloud. He realized he was hungry, and for anything other than beans, but there was nothing to eat, and there was no way to go but up. Do you see Jack? There he is. Finally, the beanstalk arrived at the top of a cliff. From there, a path wandered off into the distance. Jack followed the path until he came to the front door of a huge castle. Hunger made him bold. Bold means braver than you would normally be. There must be food in here, he thought, as he slipped inside. I don't know. Would you go in? Looks a little scary. Jack wandered gloomy hallways until he came to an immense kitchen. A giant woman stood at a wooden table. She was canning beans. "Ugh," said Jack. "What are you doing here?" she cried, dropping her can. "Well, I was hoping for something to eat." "Silly boy, don't you know where you are? My husband is a giant, twice as big as me. And lately he's been very grumpy." "I bet it's because of the beans," said Jack. "Don't be ridiculous," she said. "Beans are nutritious and delicious, and best of all, they're free." But Jack was right. Ever since the mighty stalk had appeared, the giants had been eating nothing but beans. And Mr. Giant, he was sick of them. Loud footsteps sounded in the hallway. "Fee, fi, fo, say, what's for lunch?" "Quick," hissed Mrs. Giant. "You've got to hide." Jack dove headfirst into a flour barrel. A moment later, Mr. Giant strode into the kitchen. "Boy, am I hungry." "Good," said Mrs. Giant. "I've made you a nice bean salad." "Bean salad!" the giant cried. "All we ever have is beans, and I hate beans." "We love beans," she said, "and they're good for you." "How do you think you got so big?" "Well, I don't know." "But you eat them and you're puny." "Well, I'm busy," she said. "Now, eat your salad and stop complaining." The giant ate, but he didn't stop complaining. "Beans," he grumbled. "What I wouldn't give for a plate of French fries." Without thinking, Jack said, "Here, here." "What was that?" cried the giant, and he leapt to his feet. "Nothing," said his wife. "I know what I heard, and it came from that flour barrel." The giant stomped over to the barrel and plucked Jack up by his feet. He turned to his wife. "What is this?" "It's just a boy," said Mrs. Giant. "He was looking for something to eat." "Maybe he is something to eat. Look, he's already breaded." "Don't be disgusting," she said. "Yeah," said Jack, "don't be disgusting." The The giant set Jack on the table, but he was still angry. You know what's disgusting? Beans. And he dumped a bushel on his head. You see? Disgusting. He overturned another bushel and another. He picked up great handfuls of beans and tossed them in the air. Soon beans were flying everywhere. Jack joined in. They made a terrific mess, and as they did, they chanted, "No more beans! No more beans!" Oh my goodness. And through all this mess, look right here. Mrs. Giant, she doesn't look too happy, does she? "Stop!" cried Mrs. Giant. "Both of you should be ashamed. If you don't like beans, plant something else." "Plant?" said Jack. "Something else?" said the giant. "A vegetable garden, you ninnies, with potatoes, for instance." "Why taters?" said her husband. "To make French fries," said Jack. "Of course, we'll plant them right away." "First, you're going to clean this kitchen," said Mrs. Giant. That's fair. They did make an awful mess. As soon as they were done, they headed down the beanstalk. The bullies were waiting at the bottom. "There he is," they cried when Jack appeared. Jack wasn't worried. "Hey guys, meet my friend," he said. Once the uproar died down and the bullies went home, Jack and the giant spent the rest of the day planting a garden. I think I know why Jack wasn't afraid to see the bullies, because his new friend, is a giant, right? I think his friends might have been afraid, though. Look at their faces when they saw the giant. "Row!" shouted the giant. "Patience," said Jack. Soon the giant grew bored and headed back up the stalk. But Jack tended his garden every day, and the vegetables, well, they grew and they grew. And so here you can see, let's see, they planted potatoes, tomatoes, corn, and carrots. In fact, whatever magic had produced the beanstalk seemed to be working on the other plants as well, because before long the backyard was bursting with carrots, corn, potatoes, tomatoes, and asparagus, and everything was enormous. There was so much food they didn't know what to do, so Jack and his mother cooked up a feast. The smell spread across the village and all the way up the beanstalk, and by dinner time everyone was there, even the giants. It was the most stupendous meal anyone could remember. They all agreed that the food was delicious and nutritious, and best of all, were the French fries. So he finally got his French fries at the end. Well, that's the end of Jack and the Beanstalk and the French fries. Again, this book is up for the Volunteer State Book Award, and so it's up for you to decide whether you think this is the best book in Tennessee. So it's up for you to decide, would you give it a yay, would you give it a nay, or would you give it an okay? So it's up for you to decide that. There will be a way for you here soon to go on and click a link to vote. I'll be sending that out to you soon. I'm also going to send out a little movie for you to get to see all of the books that are up for the Volunteer State Book Award. We started reading these back in September, so I know it's been a while since you've seen some of them, so I just wanted to remind you of some of the books that we have read. So you'll be looking for that soon as well, but I hope you enjoyed this story, and I'll see you soon for another story. Bye, guys.